Welcome to podcasts recorded live at the Center for Spiritual Living in Portland, Oregon. We have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center and its video podcasts, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.
Welcome to the Portland Center for Spiritual Living and to our Facebook Live service. We are a Science of Mind community that teaches spiritual principles to transform your life and make the world a better place. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. All we ask is that you stay open to the possibility of changing your entire life simply by changing your mind. My name is Sean Larkin. I serve as one of the licensed practitioners on the Center's ecclesiastical team. It is my honor to welcome you. For our global audience, I invite you to find out more about us on our website at cslportland.org. Under the About Us menu tab, you'll find a lot of information about who we are, what we stand for, and how we might serve you. The website also gives details about the various activities at the center. Everyone is invited to visit our website where you can sign up to receive email subscriptions. On the homepage, scroll down, and on the right-hand side, there's a space to sign up. Subscription options include a weekly email listing of our events and services, our free program called 365 Earnest Homes. You will receive a daily Earnest Homes affirmation sent directly to your email inbox. They feature a lovely background picture and some reflective material presented by Reverend Larry. Thirdly, you can enter your birthday to receive an e-card and a special gift on that special day. I'd like to highlight several announcements about some activities going on at our center. Sunday service is at the center and on Facebook Live at 11 a.m. Our services are also presented on YouTube and podcast. We have our Wednesday night meditation service every week on Zoom at 7 p.m. This week, licensed practitioner Kathy Batten is leading a meditation entitled, I Am Enough As I Am. On Friday, we have Friday lunch with Reverend Larry this Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, meeting via Zoom, and lunch is optional, so come by and have a chat. We also have online Zoom groups for our Social Justice Book Club and our 12-step program for women facilitated by licensed practitioner Nancy Ashley. Now I'm going to invite Reverend Larry to come up and speak about some more of our educational offerings.
Thank you so much, Sean. We do have 3 classes and workshops coming up, and one of them I want to highlight in particular today because it starts this coming week. It's called Embracing Abundance. Throughout the month of October, we're going to be highlighting the idea of abundance and financial freedom here at the center. And if you want to delve into that to some depth, this Embracing Abundance workshop would be just the ticket. It's presented by Reverend Dr. Christina Tillotson, really a foremost person in this area. We've managed to get her time coming from California. So it's an online class. She'll be teaching it from the Seaside Center in Encinitas, California. Anyway, it's 4 weeks. It starts on October 9th. Apply the basic principles for increasing your abundance consciousness of an unlimited universe. The other one I wanted to highlight in particular today starts later in October. I'll be teaching spiritual principles and practices. It's one of the foundational classes here at the center. You'll learn all about science of mind. You'll learn about our founder, Ernest Holmes. In this online class, you'll discover proven practices that bring spiritual principles into action, allowing you to manifest desired goals and intentions. You'll get I would say, the smorgasbord of all that we have to offer here in one class. And it's only 5 weeks. It's starting October 26th on Tuesday night, so I look forward to that. Later in the year, we also have a workshop that Reverend Marilyn is putting on called The Power of Forgiveness, and that one will be coming up in November. But make sure, if you're at all interested in improving your abundance quotient, that class called Embracing Abundance, it's a 4-week series on Saturdays. That's coming up this Saturday, so you'll want to make sure that you register, really right away so that you get all the materials and information for joining that class. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Larry. Many exciting learning opportunities here at the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. Also, another important announcement, we are starting our Fall Connection Circles this week, but it's not too late to sign up and get connected. We still have room in our circles on Wednesday afternoon, Thursday evening, and Friday morning. That last one, Friday morning, I will be facilitating. The virtual circles are a wonderful way of going deeper in the Sunday message with like-minded people in an informal basis over Zoom. You can sign up for these groups on our website at cslportland.org. Our flowers are courtesy of Kat Jacobs, lovely as always. And today our special music is provided by our music director, LaRhonda Steele, and features our backup by our very own Friends Band, who are doing some wonderful music before I came up here. Really was vibing to that. And today's message is The Money Myth by our very own Reverend Larry. So I invite you to sit back and relax, because I know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, and the message is exactly what your heart came to receive.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Reverend Larry. Right now we are entering into our sacred time of meditation together. And as we do that, I have my, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I've got my survivor sachet on. So I am so grateful and just so grateful to be here and to be with you. So let's breathe in together. And settle into that beautiful sacred heart space as we sing and pray and meditate. It is not I, but the Spirit within, who does these things I see before me. It is not I, but the Spirit within. Oh, glory to God. Oh, glory to God. It is not I, but the Spirit within, who does these things I see before me. It is not I, but the Spirit within. Oh, glory to God. Oh, glory to God. It is not I, but the Spirit within, who does these things I see before me. It is not I, but the Spirit within. Oh, glory to God. Oh, glory to God.
Yes, the Spirit within, that one part of us that is one with Spirit, God, the Creator, the All. For there is only this one thing. It is prosperous, it is free, it is creative, and it is loving, and we participate in it. Thus I know that all that hear this message here and now are truly free. The past does not define us, the future is ours to create, and in the present moment, we can be one with that creative power within and through us. I see this freedom and this creativity and this prosperity that is the oneness, and know that it is good, for it is God, realizing itself through each and every one of us right here, right now. I give thanks for this, and I release this prayer into the action of the law, which works by principle through the intonation of our word. And so it is. Meditation, I invite you to relax and be with that one presence within.
Welcome back from the silence. We've got a funky, funky song for you. So I'm telling you, you might want to get your funky shoes on. We're talking about abundance. We're talking about money and the attraction of it. So I think we have to do an Eddie Watkins Jr. song called Money is Coming to Me. All right.
Money is coming to me.
Yeah, money is coming to me. Yeah, money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Yeah, money is coming to me. I can just feel it. Yeah, I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Money is coming to me. You know what? The universe is working for me. I can just feel it. Yes, I believe, yeah. It's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. 'Cause money is coming to me. Oh, yes. It's more than enough to live. It's more than enough to give. It's more than enough to share. I feel like it's already here. It's more than enough to shop. It's more than enough to drop. It's more than enough to share. With penny left over to share. Your money is coming to me. Can you feel it? I can feel it. Yes, I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. 'Cause money is coming to me, yeah. The universe is working for me all the time. I can just feel it. Yes, I believe it's working for me now. And I'm not worried about how. 'Cause the universe is working for me, yeah. And I have more than enough to live. And more than enough to give. More than enough to share. Feels like it's already here. It's more than enough to shop. It's more than enough to drop. It's more than enough to save and give some away. Money is working for me. Yes, it is. I can feel it. Yes, I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. 'Cause money is coming to me. Oh, yes, it's coming to me. And it's coming to you. Oh, can't you feel it? Don't you worry about how, no. Just believe it. Oh, just feel it. And you'll receive it. Oh, yeah. Help now. Say, money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. It keeps coming. Money keeps coming to me. It's coming. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. It keeps coming, y'all. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. What a wonderful way to celebrate that. Thank you, Friends Band.
I don't think I've ever heard such a joyous song about something like money. I love it. Thank you so much, band and LaRhonda. Well, you've probably guessed that this is the month that we choose every year to talk about abundance in its larger forms of money, of course, yes, but more than that, an abundance of love, an abundance of joy, all good things. How do we learn to do a better job of living the good life? We're using this year a wonderful book by Julia Cameron. Now, you might remember her from The Artist's Way, best-selling author of a series of books on using creativity in your lives. Well, she also wrote this lovely book called The Prosperous Heart, another bestseller, and we're going to be using it to guide us through this idea of opening our heart to receive more blessings. So money, yes, absolutely, but way more than just money. In fact, let me read just a little bit. You know, every book generally to get you hooked into buying it has a promise, and let me read just a little bit of the promise on the back cover here. It says, in The Prosperous Heart, Julia Cameron, author of the international bestsellers The Artist's Way, presents a program for using practical financial tools in partnership with your creative heart and soul to guide you to prosperity in all areas of your life. And so the idea is, as we open our heart, as we learn more about what motivates us in the world, God can respond to that. The divine creative process will work for us rather than, as it appears some days, to work against us. First of all, I think we need to talk about what prosperity really means. Now, there's a little bit of difference, I think, between prosperity and plain old abundance. So what does she mean by prosperity? She says it has almost nothing to do with money. She says that most people think that when I have X amount of money, I'll feel better, I'll be prosperous, or I'll be successful. But she says that true prosperity, the bottom line for that, the formula should be, when I have X amount of faith, I will feel better, I will be prosperous, I will be happy. And the premise here, and I think it's an absolutely spot-on one, is that if we build our happiness, if we build our prosperity, if we build our life counting and needing on the external things to go right? There's always going to be something that happens. There's always going to be something in the outer world that may interrupt a flow of money. But what I do know is that faith is the true sustainer, the true measure, if you will, of prosperity is the idea that we are always prospered. That's an inner awareness, not based on how much is in our bank account, not based on a promotion at work, not based on something that might have a hiccup in it, but our own true faith that the universe is a good and safe place, and that God actually wishes all of us to prosper, because as we prosper, as we feel that opening of the heart, God gets to experience that through us. And so as we put less emphasis on getting and more emphasis on opening our heart to actually receive the blessings that are already around us, that opening of the heart creates that feeling that is true prosperity. So for the purposes of this series, and we'll be talking about prosperity actually for the next 7 weeks, we're going to actually work right up until our gratitude service in November. So for the next 7 weeks, for the purposes of this series, I'm defining prosperity as a feeling of sufficiency and security. Faith. our ability to know that whatever we need, whatever we would choose, is available to us always in this abundant universe. It's that inner knowing, that inner feeling, that inner faith that our needs and wants are supplied always. Despite what the bank account might look like from month to month, despite some hiccup in the magical delivery chain of the world, there is that inner delivery chain that is always present, always willing, always able to supply what we need and desire. Well, I think another good place to start are some of the money myths. You know, this day in particular, we're going to be talking about some of the beliefs around abundance and money that are just myths, and I'd like to debunk them a bit. And I think perhaps a good place to start would be a joke. So the frugal pastor walked into the house panting, almost completely exhausted. "Well, what happened, honey?" inquired his partner of many years. "Well, it's a great new idea I have to be a better steward of our finances," he gasped. "I ran all the way home from the stewardship committee behind the bus. I saved us $2 in bus fare." "Okay," replied his partner. I guess if that's the way you look at it, why didn't you run behind a taxi and save us $15? So that is one of the things that Julia Cameron calls a money myth. And it has to do with the idea of us when we're in a miserly mode. In her book, she talks about some of the beliefs we have and how it influences the way that we think of money and the way that we spend our money. And I want to go through four of these myths, through four of these ways that sometimes we get hooked into spending and thinking money, and hopefully debunk them. So the monetary miser, our pastor in the joke, he equates the idea of always just barely getting by, the idea of low self-esteem. Am I really worthy of living the good life? This would be someone that you might know as a secondhand shopper. In my own life, my best friend for many years, Ed, really had this kind of mentality. He got all of his clothes at a thrift store. He was never able to actually spend money on himself. Things that you might think of as little everyday luxuries. Like rather than go to maybe a Starbucks for a coffee, he'd say, "Oh, no, that's a frivolous waste of time. If I want to have some coffee, I should make it myself. It would be cheaper." And there's nothing, of course, wrong with being a good steward of your money, right? I mean, the fellow in the joke had a point. Why not be a good steward of our money? But not at the expense of your own soul. Your own soul needs to be, how do I want to put it? It needs to be supported in love, needs to have some of the joys of life. Of course, we're going to spend money on ourselves. Of course, we want to look well and dress well and have play dates with ourselves, right? We want to go out to a restaurant now and then. We want to have a little fun. We want to plan that trip to Disney World. We want to do things that enrich our lives and are playful. And those things, of course, cost money in the world. When we deny ourselves those small pleasures in the idea of miserliness, what we're really saying is, I don't think I'm worthy of living the good life. And when I don't think I'm worthy of living the good life, I got to tell you, God will support us in that thought, right? Suddenly we'll discover that our resources are diminishing. We'll discover that the world treats us as we're thinking about ourselves. If we're thinking that there's never enough money to go around, if we're thinking that I have to scrimp and save, if we're thinking that resources are limited, unfortunately, it's as though we're praying all our might And that will be returned to us in like form. We will discover that some of our sources of income are drying up, that things are getting more expensive. It will encourage us to get more miserly yet until that point comes when we're just about as tight as we can get and our heart is closed up. And boy, is that the total signal to the world of this person should just be allowed to stew in their own misery. Of course, I'm painting this in a rather dramatic picture. I know all of us from time to time know we need to rein back on our spending. All of us from time to time need to realize, well, a budget is a budget. I don't have that money to spend. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when those urges of miserliness happen, even when you do have money, even when things are going on in your life and things are well, still you want to have that urge to get something secondhand that's maybe even broken with the thought, well, I can fix this. I can make it do. This is the best I should expect. The second idea, wait a minute though. So what is the myth? That thrift is a virtue. That somehow me being thrifty is part of God's plan. Now there's nothing wrong with the idea of appropriate use of your resources, including money. But if you are ratcheting down thinking that somehow thrift in itself is the good life, that's a myth. The second one is almost the opposite. You might think of this as the big ticket spender. And I had an Uncle Russ when I was growing up, actually, who is my great uncle, and he always had to have a new car every year. Have you met someone like that always had to have the newest and the best? And I remember he would go, we were living down in Newport, Oregon, he would always go to Portland to buy his clothes because he could get more high-ticket brand names in the city. I mean, he could get a Burberry jacket or something rather than the store. I think when I was growing up, it was J.C. Penney was the highlight of the clothes shopping in Portland. Well, that wasn't good enough for him. It needed to be a name brand. It needed to be a good car. And the methodology behind this, I think, was he wanted to appear to be wealthy. He wanted to have the kind of life that looked a certain way. And so his perhaps false belief was that money will make you happy, that money will bring you prestige, that money itself will bring you the good life. Well, now, I wanted to mention, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the happiness report, and if you'll remember, people are happier with a certain amount of money. Once, if our basic needs are not being met, if we're not earning enough to live in a good place, if we're not earning enough to have all the food we need, if we're not earning enough to feel that many of our urges for creativity can be satisfied, absolutely, we're not going to be happy. But the report also showed that once our basic needs are met, adding more money to it does nothing for our happiness, does nothing for our self-satisfaction, really adds nothing to us. So in this particular case, having money or buying the latest big spender kind of thing, making sure that all of our clothes are from, obviously this is not me because I don't even know the right brands to throw out. I think there's something, I remember a friend of mine was very interested in Prada shoes. Now, I don't even know exactly what that means, but you would say that and her eyes would light up. And of course, there's nothing wrong with enjoying good things, but good things are not necessarily going to bring you the good life. You need to be aware that the good life so often comes from within, not from without. That once our needs are met, buying the new car again this year will make you feel wonderful for about a day and a half. And then you'll be parking in the Safeway parking lot. You'll get your first scratch, right? And then, oh well, it's not a new car anymore. So beware of that big spender mentality. And the false belief here, what we need to debunk around this money is that money will make you happy. It's simply not true. All right, the third type of person that can convince themselves of something that isn't correct about money and their relationship with money, I think is typified by my cousin Maxine. She was of that generation that went through the Great Depression, and so to her, more was always more. And by that, if something was on sale, she'd buy it in every color. Have you ever known anyone like that? Oh my gosh, I went down to and these weren't expensive items by any means. She would go down to the J.C. Penney, and she would see a pair of slacks that she liked and was on a special deal. She would buy 5 of them in 5 different colors. She would go to Costco and buy a pallet of toilet paper so that there would always be toilet paper for her. Well, the trouble with this, other than the fact you can very easily turn into a hoarder, right? Other than that, the false belief is that if I have more, I have security. That security only comes with having a huge stockpile of stuff. And so if you find yourself in that buying mode, oh my gosh, it's on sale, I gotta have it. And maybe I'd have 5 of them, that I'll use them eventually. If you find yourself making buying decisions and thoughts around that, ask yourself, does this really provide me with security? What if those pants aren't even going to fit anymore? I'm likely to lose weight, right? Then I have 5 pairs of slacks I can't even wear. Toilet paper may not go bad, but having a pallet in your garage, it's like, really? You think there's going to be a time when you're totally out and desperate? It's like, think about it. What kind of message are you telling yourself? What you're trying to find is safety and security, and that too is something that comes from within. Remember, we opened up by talking about faith, the idea that in God there will always be enough. We don't need to rely on a pallet of toilet paper from Costco. We do not need to buy up all of the shoes that come in our size and different colors. And so here we're debunking the idea that more is required for some sense of security. The final myth about money that I want to talk about, and the last of these 4 unfortunate spending patterns, I would call the enabler. And this is typified by a client that I had. I was working with a client a few years back, and she came in, and of course, the trouble is always with someone else, right? And so she was telling me about what trouble her daughter was in, and how, we needed to pray for her daughter. Her daughter, after some discussion, was clearly involved in the drug scene, and had moved out of the house in many ways so that her mother couldn't control her drug habit anymore. She wanted to, live by herself and be free and do what she wanted when she wanted to do it. But she had talked her mom into paying for the apartment. She had talked her mom into an allowance for clothing and other things. Well, as you can imagine, much to the mother's dismay, most of this money was being spent on drugs and alcohol. And the apartment landlord was phoning her, well, that you may have sent your daughter a check for the rent, but I never got it. And so after talking, I said, well, there is a place for tough love. You probably need to cut your daughter off. I mean, as horrible as that sounds, invite her to move back in with you if you're afraid she's going to be out on the street. But sending her money that is likely to be used inappropriately isn't helping her any. it's time probably to rein things in a bit. It's time to not be seen as the golden goose that's going to produce whatever this daughter wants. She's not even in her right mind if she's hooked on some kind of drugs or alcohol. She would not hear of it. The mother, I think, believed that money equals love. And so examine your own spending habits. How often do you buy something with the idea that either you will find greater love in yourself with that product or that thing that you have purchased, or if it's intended to be a gift or from your family, ask yourself, am I doing this so that the family will love me more? Am I putting in a swimming pool because I want the kids to love me more? Am I buying my wife a new car because we've been having marital problems and it's really love that I desire? So quickly, I want to go over these four troubling spending habits, and I want you just to think as I go through them, could these be describing some of my own spending habits? Now, I don't think you're as bad off, believe me, as any of the people I described. I tried to think of some pretty dramatic examples of people that I have known in my past that really had a problem here. But just think of yourself as I run through these one more time. Does this behavior describe some of the decisions that I make around money? So first we had the monetary miser. That was my friend Ed that could never spend any money on himself, that always had to go the cheapest route, that always had to go to the secondhand store for anything that he needed, even though he had a great job. Even though he had the ability absolutely to do nice things for himself, he never did. His idea was thrift is a virtue, and I'm just not worthy of the good life. The second one we talked about was the big ticket spender, my Uncle Russ, that always had to have the latest car, that always had to have the clothes with the expensive labels in them. His belief, his false belief, was that money equals status, that money equaled standing upright in the world, being the bigger person, that money somehow would bring him happiness. The third kind of person we talked about was my cousin Maxine. You might think of her as the bargain buyer. And many people that happen to be baby boomers right now, their parents went through the Great Depression. And we may have been trained, buy it, but when it's cheap, buy 7 of them, It's like we want our security. Our parents went through that Great Depression. There wasn't enough maybe when we were children. Let's make sure there's always enough. And by enough, I mean stuff. Usually manifests in a little bit of that hoarding thing. People that have to have a whole room that's a pantry to store, a whole year's worth of canned goods. Typically, those people are looking for security. And yet, ultimately, security does not come from stuff. And then finally, look at yourself in terms of being an enabler. Are you perhaps enabling other people by buying stuff for them? Are you enabling your own sense of not being lovable enough by buying things for yourself? The idea here is that if I spend money in a certain way, I will have more love in my life. All right, well, I've left you with quite a bit of things that we don't want to do, right? Not as helpful as I usually am. So let me close today with our purpose. Our purpose, of course, is to be prosperous. Our purpose is to have a sense of financial freedom. Our purpose is to look within and find and enjoy the faith and spirit that knows we are always, always provided. And one place to start is to get underneath some of those poor spending habits, those false beliefs, and see what's really there for me. Do you feel that you don't have enough love? Do you feel that there isn't economic security for you? Do you feel that you have to do things for your friends in order to get their love? Do you feel that you're not worthy, that the good life is always going to elude you? These are the issues that we address head on. We don't think about money as somehow affecting it or resolving it. We look inward. We begin to see ourselves as lovable and valuable. We begin to see ourselves as part of spirit that always wishes us to lead the abundant life. There is good for us, and we shall have it. That's the promise of God. It's the promise of spirit in its abundance to share and be gracious with us if we can open our heart to accept it. Well, in summary, what we've learned today is that prosperity is not just about the money. Once we have reached a level of sufficiency, once our needs are being met, more money not necessarily helpful at all. We've learned that this month and a little bit into next month, we're defining prosperity as a faith-based feeling of sufficiency and security. There is enough. I am enough. God is here to prosper me. My life is part of the abundance of the universe. We've also talked about the 4 dangerous myths about money, that thrift is a virtue, that money equals happiness, that more is always more, the person who dies with the most stuff wins. We've talked about spending on others in the hopes that they will love you more. These are all false beliefs that we're going to work on really debunking and dissolving this month. And then finally, we talked about knowing what sufficiency and safety really are for us if we want to make progress. And that leads me into the homework for this particular week. What does sufficiency and safety mean to you? If that is the point of financial freedom, to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel that you have enough, to feel that you are enough, your homework this week is to do a little bit more definition around that. What is safety and security for you? What is having enough? Not living in luxury. That's a different question, and there's nothing wrong with picturing yourself living in luxury. But what is sufficiency? What level of goodness in your life would have you feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling prosperous? And if something really is missing, we're going to be learning the tools and techniques for attracting that into your lives later this month. All right, well, I want to close with a quote from the book and a prayer. And actually, we're blessed. There's a beautiful opening prayer in this book, so I'm going to use that for our closing prayer today. So Julia Cameron says, as you recognize your spending types, the specific anxiety it masks becomes clearer. She's talking about those myths that we have about money. At different times, you may find yourself falling into different patterns, seeking to block your anxiety by adopting whichever type of spending feels the most comfortable in the moment. This is compulsive spending, and it's always this is compulsive spending, and it's always masking something else. And we spend completely because we are trying so hard to mask something else going on in our lives. Well, we must learn to ask ourselves, what am I afraid of? And when the answer becomes clear, we will learn to take the fear out of our spiritual source and ask our higher power to intervene. Let us pray. O great Creator, I prosper through you, drawing my abundance from your infinite stores. You know my needs, and you provide for them always. You know my dreams, and you bring me their fulfillment. I rely on you as my source always. You are the rock on which I build my life, and I trust you to supply me with all the things necessary for my happiness, for my safety and security. You are my security, and I turn to you always to guide, guard, and direct, and so it is. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you've enjoyed just this first taste of Julia Cameron's The Prosperous Heart. Now is our time of conscious giving, and many of you, of course, who have been with us for a few years are wondering, this is October. Shouldn't he be doing some kind of a pitch for a pledge program or something? Well, you're off the hook this year, kinda. Let me explain just a minute. We really decided in these uncertain times, it'd be a little crazy for you to predict your finances over the next year and to make a pledge, right? We don't even know whether the center will physically be open for attendance, right? We're closed for October. How could we ask you to make a commitment when you don't even know what your life is going to be like? Having said that, though, I also know that many of you are in great financial shape, maybe not necessarily knowing exactly what the year will bring, maybe not feeling like making a pledge, but I do know that many of you out there could easily sign up for one of our automatic payment programs. It's so difficult in not knowing whether people will be here in the sanctuary. Doing our usual offering is kind of weird. For many of you, it's difficult every week to log on to the internet in a certain way and go to us at cslportland.org/donate and figure all that out. How much easier it would be for you, and what a blessing for us if you signed up for one of the automatic payment options that we have. We've recently had to upgrade some of our sound equipment, some of our musical equipment, some of our video equipment. It would be so lovely to accept your gifts to help us bring this quality time to you every Sunday. Again, cslportland.org/donate if you feel moved to sign up for some kind of a regular giving amount. Please know, can be changed at any time. All you have to do is just send us a quick email, and we're glad to change the amount or to cancel your gifts. Thank you so much, and let's have some more fabulous music, shall we? LaRhonda, would you like to come up?
Thank you, Reverend Larry. Wow. This whole thing about money and prosperity it's a big deal for so many of us. And thank you for doing this session, doing this talk. All right. So we have another beautiful song by Eddie Watkins Jr. It's Eddie's week. It's called All the Same Stuff. And before we do that, let's show our love to our friends band, Ken Brewer on guitar and keys, Jim Solberg on bass, Mr. Don Schultz on drums, and they all sing so beautifully. All right. It is. They're good singers. Look around and everything you see is merely an outpicturing of what's going on inside your consciousness. And if you don't like what you see, change your mind and your beliefs. Keep what's working for you and throw out the rest. Yeah. 'Cause easy's the other side of tough, and smooth is the other side of rough, and down is just the other side of up. And it's all the same stuff. Since God is all there is, you see, what else could anything else be? It's all the same stuff. And you can rearrange it any way you want. Yeah. Now I'm not trying to get mystical, scientific, or psychological. I'm just stating the plain and simple truth. Whatever you think most about seems to always come about and ends up staring you right in the face. Yes, it does. Now easy's the other side of tough, smooth is the other side of rough, and down is just the anything else means all the same stuff. Yeah. You're free to rearrange it any way you want. All right, Ken. Yeah. What else could anything else be? All the same stuff. And you can rearrange it any way you want. Oh yeah, it's all the same stuff. Since God is all there is to see, what else could anything else be? The same stuff, yes it is, and you can rearrange it any way you want.
Gosh, that one, I was ready to dance. If only there were people to dance with. I wanted to read a letter. Well, first of all, thank you all for your wonderful donations. I do appreciate you going to cslportland.org/donate. That's where you can set up one-time or reoccurring donations, and they mean so much to me, of course. But I thought I would read this and do a shout-out to a friend of ours named Johnny in North Carolina. He writes, I listen to your podcast a lot, and I have grown very fond of the message. I loved your episode, The Mother Load. Oh, that was the one we did about a month ago. I thank you all at PCSL, and I pray for your success. What a sweet letter. So thank you so much, Johnny. We're here for you, even in North Carolina, and just want to let all of you know that we're also here to support you in prayer. So if there's something going on in your life that could use a little tune-up, could use a little improvement, please seek us out, cslportland.org. At the bottom of every single page, there's a link for submitting a prayer request. If we can help you through our prayer, we are here for you. You fill that out, and it automatically gets emailed to our entire prayer team. About 12 of us will be praying for you throughout the week, so please take advantage of that. Gosh, I think it's time for our closing song. Thank you, LaRhonda.
Thank you, Reverend Larry. All right. I know you're in your homes or wherever you are. If you want to stand up, you can. Let's groove on this closing song. It's the truth of who I am. Yes. That includes you too. Come on. Groove with us now. I am love. I am loving. I am love. Kind of bossy, huh? I am love, I am loving, I am love. It's the truth of who I am. If I forget, Spirit reminds me again that I am love, I am loving, I am love. Tell your beautiful neighbor, you are love, you are loving, you are love. Yes, you are love. The truth of who you are. Shine your light near, yes, near and far. You are love, you are loving, you are love. The whole world, we are love. The universe, we are loving, we are love. Yes, we are love, we are loving, we are love. It's the truth of who we are. Shine our lights near, yes, near and far. We are love, we are loving, we are love. You are, you are, you
If you happen to be in the Portland, Oregon area, we'd love to have you visit in person. The Portland Center for Spiritual Living is located at 6211 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have inspirational services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Sunday. We also have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. We have a variety of content dedicated specifically for our online listeners. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Our website is also the place to learn more about what's going on at the center or to contact us. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.